Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Wargaming.net League North America World of Tanks. I am your host, Joshua Gray, call sign Clutch, and joining me on the set to bring you all the action for tonight is Andre Gretorp Hengshua and Randall Ruukil Holcomb. First off, tonight, qualifier number 2 begins. We got to see incredible action 2 weeks ago as 4 teams were able to make it through the qualifiers and join the 8 teams that were invited, making for a total of 12 altogether. Now, some of you are asking, what is World of Tanks? What is World of Tanks esports? We're going to give you guys a brief description of what this game is all about and how the competitive scene is exploding right now for this game. First off, World of Tanks is an incredible online game, and it's free to play. Usually it's 15 versus 15 in the public matches, but for here in the esports competitive scene, we have a 7 by 7. It's 7 versus 7, or 7 by 42 is what we call it, because there's actually a 42 tier point limit. Now what that means is the cumulative point system of the different teams is 42 tier points. In the game itself, there's 10 tiers, but we have the tier cap at 8. Now, for more explanation of the rules, we'll go over that later on throughout the day today. But first off, we want to talk about how exciting the qualifier number 1 was and who all qualified. First up, we have River of Blood. Now, gentlemen, they did fantastic. I think they only lost 1 or 2 matches, 1 or 2 battles throughout the entire qualifiers. They performed incredibly. Your thoughts? First off, Andre.
Completely explosive. We haven't really seen a lot of teams like that. A lot of camping normally, a lot of sit back, wait for your opponent to come into the reticle, and then blast away. No, they took it to them. They always were the ones to be aggressive, push it towards their opponent, and they were able to grab the victory very quickly in all of their series.
Now, Ruukil, you're familiar with some of these guys on this team, and they were one of your favorites coming into the qualifiers. They performed very well. Do you think they're going to continue that performance all the way through the actual league starting July 11th?
I think they can keep it up. Yeah, they sound like they look like one of those teams that looks really, really strong. I think if they practice hard, work hard, they're going to get places.
Yeah. Another team, Cazadores, we were all incredibly surprised by their play style, especially on Mines, using that Bison to its fullest potential. That was one of the best matches I think I've seen so far in competitive World of Tanks play, especially for North America. And they're from South America. And for them to participate in this league, they are representing the Spanish speakers when it comes to not only World of Tanks, but when it comes to competitive gaming, when it comes to esports. So first, they're really excited to have qualified. And second, I find their play style very, very intriguing to watch. Your thoughts, first off, Andre?
Very metagame oriented. I actually have the chance to speak with a lot of the other invited teams going to the WGLNA, and they were saying, yeah, they were very metagame based, but they're so successful. I got to talk with some Simp guys, some Fulcrum guys, 2 teams that are premier North American teams, and they're really, really worried about this team because they can honestly do anything. It feels like they have all these one-trick ponies, and they just make it consistently work because they have an ability to just outperform on their opponents.
Yeah, their performance, again, was remarkable. And I look forward to see if they're able to hold that type of performance because a lot of these different teams are going to be watching the different strategies that they have. This, again, is adding another level of competitive play because since these matches are broadcasted and everyone is trying to earn that $100,000 prize pool, they want to see every strategy these guys bring to the table. Ruukil, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really liking a lot of these teams that we have. I'm really impressed. Cazadores, what they did some really cool stuff. It was out of the box. It was, I would have almost said reckless and risky, but at the same time, it worked. And if it works, I guess it's not out the window. And I'm hoping to see more teams do cool stuff like that.
Let's talk about the third team. Now, they're formerly called More Golds, but they're actually called Cunninghams now, I guess naming themselves after the Tier 1 Cunningham. Again, very well-performing team. I don't think they lost 1 match at all during the entire qualifiers.
Scurryhard did not lose.
Scurryhard was the one that didn't. We'll talk about them in a second. But again, another excellent performance, good tank positioning in a lot of the different maps. And we got to see some of the highlights again when we were at E3, showing off the different matches.
Sure.
Ruukil, I'm going to go with you first. What are your thoughts on this team?
On which team again? Scurryhard. Switch on me?
Let's do
Golds, a.k.a. Cunningham.
Cunningham,
okay.
yeah.
That name change confused me. I was not expecting that. I think they'll do all right, but right now I wouldn't say they're one of my big favorites to win.
Yeah.
You know, but anything can happen. So
anything can happen.
We'll see what
that's the beauty about this tournament is that we had the 8 invited teams, but it was a completely open qualifier with 2 chances to win. single elimination bracket. That bracket's already over with. They fought through 128 different teams to make it. Tonight we're starting from the round of 64. Gretorp, your thoughts, and then let's go ahead and talk about Scurry Heart as well.
Yeah, definitely a team that I thought was good, but they do have small little mistakes here and there throughout each game. Actually, me and Ruukil were talking about them a little bit earlier when they were playing, and we noticed small little tiny things. I think it's going to be a big challenge for them to compete with the heavy, you know, powerhouses of North America. But you know what? There's nothing that a little bit of practice can do to really help and hone your skills.
That's very true, especially when everything is on the line.
Yes.
And Scurry Heart, what Scorland said, they're going to practice. We interviewed the team leader of River of Blood. They're going to practice. They're taking this very seriously.
You know, the best thing about these underdogs is that they have nothing to lose, right? Like Fulcrum, Simp, they do not want to be dying. They don't want to be knocked out really soon. So.
All right, well, it's time to start our first game, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want to have a delay whatsoever. It's going to be Burn All Empires versus Simplistic. Let's go ahead and jump into the match. And the map is going to be Himmelsdorf. Right on, man. Beautiful map. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Himmelsdorf is all about.
And there it is, Ruukil, you're always here to help us out. What's going on with Himmelsdorf?
All right, so it is pretty simple how Himmelsdorf works. You get two main strats, west and east, from both sides of the map. But it looks like we're actually going to see some nice east movement on the north side and on the south. Looks like we're going to see actually something that I call the meta normal strat. So what we're going to see is we're going to see on the south, the blue team. You guys going to have to remind me who's who. But
the blue team is Burn All Empires, red team is Simplistic.
Thank you. Okay, the blue team, Burn All Empires, looks like they're going for something very normal. But Simplistic, that's red, is up north here, and they're in a cubby. That's confusing me, and I really want to see how that is working out. So it's an interesting strat. I don't know what they're quite going to do. I think they're waiting for the blue team to maybe push up this alleyway and maybe split right there at the end.
I've seen this parking lot strat actually once before during the Korean League, Ruukil, and it's a mind game really with your opponent. You're trying to see if anyone's going to push in, what's going to scout what, and a lot of times, a lot of these scouts will try to take the hillside, as you always detail, which is to the east of the map. But in that 5-minute mark, which you've seen different teams go towards before they push out and make a serious move, I think that's what Simplistic's going to do. But, I mean, your thoughts right now, just playing the waiting game, it is a viable tactic, but at the same time, they can't push into their capture point.
Yeah, they are giving up a huge amount of map control doing this. They're not really setting a tone. I think they're expecting their enemy to try and make some kind of move. And you know, we're seeing that they're not. But at the same time, we could see a delayed push, or they could just wait the whole timer out, just play head games, wait for them to do something. At the same time, I'm not a big fan of this kind of strat, but at the same time, it would probably work on me.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be like, where are they? Where are they? Let's push in and find them. And I would probably lose a scout, find them, and then I'd be like, all right, there they are. So let's surround them and just really get them out of there. Because that seems like what would be the best idea for me, to attack them from multiple sides and keep them in there. Because trying to get out of that little parking lot is difficult if there's a really strong crossfire. It'll be too costly to try and push out.
Well, what it comes down to is this is a best of 5 that we're playing. First person or first team, 2-3 wins or 3 battle wins will take the series. And a lot of times when you don't know your opponents too well, you're going to just hold on, take a breather, see their style to begin with, and then play from there. So we could have a situation where they do something like this every single game, but there's also the very common situation where they're just feeling their opponents out, and they're going to play a little bit differently based on what they've seen in the first game.
Yeah, and everything is on the line here, folks. This is a single elimination bracket, and this is a best of 5. So obviously, if they lose this match, either team, it's not the end of the world, but they have to win 3 matches in order to continue. And if you lose this series, it is over until Season 2. This is the last chance to qualify. So both of these teams obviously are going to play their best, and they want to fill out each other's opponents, like you were saying, Gretorp, at the beginning here.
That's right.
Now, there was a bit of a scout notice on the map itself for the red team. They did see there was some movement on the hill.
It was definitely a standoff kind of situation. Both T1s didn't want to engage because they didn't want to risk something, and they only ended up spotting each other. So it's now we see Ril. He's just backing off now. You know, Burnell Empire's not wanting to lose that T1, lose that vision, that control on their side of the map. So he's just going to back off. And I'm guessing what I'd guess right now is they're probably wanting to group up their T1s and then try and push them onto a flank together because they know there's a T1 on the other side of the map. Maybe they can go for 2v1 on another one of those T1s, maybe get a little bit more map control, get to know stuff. They know there's a T1 on the bottom of the hill. It's going to take so long for that other T1 to climb the hill.
That's right.
That they can probably just leave him there. He's not doing anything. He's not going to make any plays.
Another reminder, too, the victory conditions. If you have an 8-tier point lead, meaning that you destroy a certain amount of tanks that add up to 8 points or more on the opposite team, and the game goes to the 0 clock mark, it means your team will win. So you do not have to destroy all of your opponents, but obviously that is one way to win. The other way to win is to capture the enemy base. And we do see a lot of captures happen when pressures from the T1 Cunninghams. People ask, why are they using a Tier 1 tank? Well, they want to use this tank, one, to allow the rest of their teammates to use higher tier tanks, but at the same time, they still prove to be viable scouts and can put pressure when necessary, Ruukil.
Yep.
Gretorp, I'm sure you would agree as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right now, it looks like one of these T1's Ril is starting to move way up. It's getting aggressive. He's actually kind of a little overextended, I'd say. I think he's about to find these heavies waiting around in their covey in just a second.
I can just hear Admiral Akbar yelling, "It's a trap!" waiting for that parking lot there. But again, as soon as it's scouted, they'll know. They'll know all of those tanks are in that position. Those AMX 50s, the KV5 with the higher HP, the T69 with that autoloader, along with the AMX 5100s. I mean, this is definitely a powerhouse parking lot with all these tanks parked here.
Here it comes.
Moving in closer and closer.
Okay, he can proximity scout. I'm pretty sure it's close enough.
There it is. He's got it. He's gonna. They might peek out for him though.
Yeah, and only a single or a couple. Oh wow, they're actually bringing out multiple tanks. I think only a single tank should poke out here to take out that T1.
Ril's gonna get away. He's gonna get into this cubby while his team moves up. Art of War's not gonna risk himself too much, but okay, never mind. He
Shots
gets that
fired
shot.
from the KV5 takes him out. He is able to scout at least 3 tanks in that vicinity, so the blue team knows they can push up through the courtyard, either swing to the west via the train depot and put pressure on the flag, or hold down in that diagonal position, stopping that banana road to the east side.
Okay, definitely a big problem. Of course, not really thinking, hey, if my T1 goes this far in, do we have any way to cover it? They weren't able to position their tanks in a way to defend a retreat path. Unfortunately,
Simplistic might be getting themselves into trouble here. There's going to be a crossfire in just a second as they push forward.
KV5 is going to draw first blood.
G-Forcer does take the first hit as well, but Azrael 90 gets the kill against Mighty Pill. That IS-3 AMX 5190 taking out a very crucial tank at the front lines here. Astro War trying to get around the side. Primus taking some hits himself. Speed Weaponry himself taking some hits from the IS-3. Warvan is in a great position for that tank with the angled armor to the front. And the 3-4 tanks that are sharing HP against that KV5, still kind of a dangerous position since he has so much HP, but at the same time, Warvan is super holding down that flank.
Man, Warvan bounced so many shots. Those AMX 5100s just blew most of their load onto that guy and still did not get penned. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they really weren't aiming for those weak spots on the IS-3. They shot him right in the manlet. Really nice thick armor, and they didn't really get any pens of that. Warvan's doing a really good job. He held down, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 2 AMX 5100s and a T69?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Fantastic job.
That is how to play the IS-3, ladies and gentlemen. Another beautiful thing about watching this broadcast, or any broadcast when it comes to World of Tanks esports, you do see how the pros play and get better. Art of War taking some more damage. KV5 at a 502 out of 1780. AMX 5100 moving in. He's got 1 shot left until he goes down. That's going to be a big blow for the KV5. The AMX 5100 goes down as well, and it looks like Burnall Empires is doing exactly that, burning down their opponent. The T69, the only one really left alive here that can do any damage, with the 2 Tier 1 Cunninghams around scouting, but they are going to put some pressure on the flag.
Now Warvan is going to corner Doberman. Goodbye. IS-3 taking so many shots and then finally outplaying T69 to his death. All that remains are 2 T1s. It's not going to matter because
G-Forcer is RTB. He's returned to base. He's going to kill Waffles, then A-Large. It's all over for him.
No Waffles.
Waffles going down. It is one of the best elements of breakfast, ladies and gentlemen, but for right now, it is not a good time to be T1 Cunningham against his T169.
Yeah.
Against his T169. Nice hit there. He's just going to ram him. One more shot.
He's going to back
go down.
up and then ram him again.
He's going to save the shots again.
Back up and then ram him again.
One more time.
Get him. Get him.
With the mercy kill to save him.
Burn All Empires will take the first battle on Himmelsdorf. Excellently played.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As my friend Tasteless says, Sick City. That was a great first match. Warvan already being a candidate, I would say, for MVP, holding down that flank. That was beautiful.
Well, he definitely played that IS-3 to the maximum capabilities. He bounced quite a bit of shots. If you actually looked onto the detailed reports, 11 shots were hit on him.
Wow.
Okay? 11 shots. Normally you're killing a tank. He's still alive with half of his life. That just tells you, holy moly, he's probably bounced a good 7 shots there.
Yeah, and that can be quite frustrating when you're going up against an IS-3, and he's angled properly. Now, because of how that armor is angled to the front, you don't have to side angle your tank. You just pretty much just go straight on, because if you do side angle it, that doesn't give the beneficial armored angle that's built into the tank already, you know, and that's historical fact. That's one of the interesting things about World of Tanks, guys, is that these tanks that they have in the game have huge historical significance. Either they actually saw battles, or they were prototypes, or they were designs that other tanks used later on to improve. So that's another very, very fascinating facet.
And you can't forget the physics, of course, the math behind it. 1 over cosine theta is the coefficient that you have to adjust whenever you're doing the armor. That's something that's so powerful. So the E armor of those IS-3s are just insane.
I gave up on math after imaginary numbers. I already told you that story.
Yeah, I know.
But just how it's an imaginary number. You're never going to use it.
You are going to use it. How dare you?
Well, I don't.
I definitely learned it when I started getting to higher level play. I had to learn the math behind effective armor.
And imaginary numbers.
And, well, I kind of knew those a little bit, but I didn't know the equations and stuff.
Yeah,
so
well, the equations, like Gretorp says, is amazing to actually break it down and see how everything works in the game and how the different shells factor into the different equations, the penetration potential, the armor differentials, the different pieces of the tanks with the mantlets, etc. But honestly, it just makes me appreciate the T-32 that much more, because there's no cons when you play the T-32 when you get down and break down the mathematics.
Josh, we'll talk about the T-32
All
one
right,
day.
I know
we'll talk about it.
Let's talk about what's happening with the tank selection right now.
All right. Sounds good.
Jumping in, looking over at Team 1, they got a T-69, AMX 5100s, Bison, Team Bison being chosen, a T1, T-71, and a T-69. Ruukil, why a Bison?
it's a great tank for two.
Did you just ask that?
Did you just ask that? For the benefit of the audience. They think, why a Bison? What is a Bison? Why are they choosing it? I know why.
The Bison is fantastic. It's a great tank, 2 tier points, and it's got great pen, and it's got a great arc. Those shells come in right on top.
I know, you're going to get the hatch, man. And you know what happens when you get the hatch? Kill the crew. You can kill the crew and not kill the tank, and it still counts as dead.
Oh.
How cool is that?
No, I mean, nobody can operate the tank.
0 damage and just kill the crew.
All right. The map is mine, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and take a look at this map.
And Ruukil, why don't you go ahead and give us a first look at what's going on mines.
Break it down.
So generally teams will go right for the mine. The middle of the map, there's a hill. It is Retcher in a big white circle, and that is where most teams will consider to be the focal important point of the map. We actually see one of the scouts from, that is Simplistic, I think, going up to the hill. Right now, we've got a medium tank going up to support. There is a very small rock where that medium is now, and he has some decent shots off in a few directions, so he's got good cover as well. Now the Bison, if there was one on the other team, he would have good shots on that medium, but because there's no artillery, that rock can actually be very strong. So what we have is both teams are actually set up right now and they are focused on the hill. They believe the hill is the strongest point, and they're set up for it. We actually see Bernal Empires. They're moving up to the hill now. I want to see what's happening there. Are they going to aggress up top?
I think they're just poking a bit right now. T-32s, 2 of them being chosen on the side of Bernal Empires, along with 2 T-69s, 2 T-1 Cunninghams, and an AMX 5100. Just poking about here, the T-71 is in a great position, like you were saying, Ruukil, to be on the top of the hill, given that view range as well as scouting anybody trying to approach. Now, this means that Bernal Empire is going to have to play, again, more of a patient game, and they did so successfully against Simplistic during that last match.
Yes. Something I want to note here, it looks like we have an AFK, maybe someone DC'd, back in the back of the map. G-Forcer is in his T-69 and he is not moving, so he may be having internet problems, but I think, did I see him twitch?
I think I may have saw a slight turret twitch, not sure though.
Well, he might, what they're going to have to do right now, and this isn't uncommon, when I've had this happen in matches before, you have to delay the gain as much as you can until your guy comes back and until you have those 8 points of tank back.
Because usually the north side spawn has the better access to the hill. They'll usually push the hill a lot better than the south.
Definitely. But G-Forcer being down, that's 8 points out of the match right now. So you can't hope to aggress effectively without him. So until he comes back, we're not going to see much out of Bernal Empires. They're going to try and delay the game, try and see if they can catch anybody out. They're not going to be able to try anything sneaky because they also don't want to leave G-Forcer exposed, because if they find out, because if T1 comes back to the base and finds G-Forcer there, he's just going to keep unloading into him, and that's free damage for that T1.
That's scouting from Simplistic on that T-32. Bison did take a shot, did miss the T-32, however. Also want to give a big shout out to our observer right now, Frodan, locking it down, giving us some great angles here in that helicopter mode. Doing a great job. Monster 415 still poking around in the different sections just to the base of the hill. The T-71 in a good spot to scout. I don't think anything can hit him from that side, the type of angle he has. And if you'll notice the entire layout right now of the red team, there is a hit. Exactly, Ruukil. Just real quickly, the entire layout of the red team, they got some good map control right now.
Absolutely. And Ruukil, I want to ask you a little bit about this, because now we do have stagnant positions, but such a positional advantage for Simplistic. What are the pros and cons of moving or readjusting that arty that is over in K9? Maybe readjusting it to over maybe even J1.
Yeah, I'd be moving him out west right now. I'd sit up. There's a good position in about K4, 5. Here, let me show you guys on the map in just a second here. And we've got K4, 5.
I think I know where you're going with this too, to get better shots.
Exactly. And the angle he has is very nice up to the north.
Exactly.
What you've done with that T-71, you go up onto that hill and you're able to scout a lot of critical areas. You can see around the 6 and 7s, and you can also see outwards around the 8s and 9s as well. So you can see where they are.
Shots fired from the T-69. Sorry to cut you off there, Gretorp, from Rill getting the hit on the T-71.
But you can see where they are not. You can kind of use deductive reasoning to really guess where they are. The Bisons can do pretty considerable damage if you know the map really well.
Exactly. And right now we actually see one of the T1s from Bernal Empires is moving up in the east. He's starting to move up. He's figured out that no one's sitting in the town with him. A lot of times you'll see both T1s meet in that town, and they will begin to fight it out. But right now he's just moving up. And we're going to see him probably run into one of the heavy tanks underneath the hill, or that T-71. The T-71 on top of the hill is making little rounds. He's trying to see what's happening, and he may catch that T1 if he gets lucky. I'm not sure, but I'm hoping.
Still, there's nobody's lit right now for Simplistic.
Nothing is showing up right now. Quickly, guys, to give you guys the stats on the Bison, with premium shells, 300 hit point damage, potential penetration 228 for Tier 2. SPG, artillery, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And it frees up so much tier points.
That's a regular shot from any of the tier 8s, but, well, a little bit less,
but
still.
T-69 hits just about as hard, so you are going to get shots just like that. Let's see, that medium still being AFK, that is killing Bernal Empires. I'm sure they want to do something, but they can't. They really can't. Not with that AFK. I thought I saw earlier an indication that he'd been spotted. Did he get spotted?
He did get spotted. It was briefly. Now, John, a.k.a. Mr. P, and Monster 415 have been spotted.
Yep. Two blue tanks are lit up. John, a.k.a. Mr. P, and Monster 415, both on those T-32s. Battle buddies for life. They're going to move over to the northern side of that hill. The T-71 will do its best job in trying to scout it out and make sure it knows exactly where it is. Because if they do try to circumvent that center, go all the way to the eastern side or all the way to the western side, there's going to be huge timing to push up in the middle and take even better positioning. And that's going to be very brutal. You can see the T-32s are slowly moving, so we're going to have a readjustment right now. How is Simplistic going to readjust? That's the big question.
Israel 90 meeting up with Monster 415. That Bison has moved to the K6 position at this time, so he has repositioned himself. I wonder if the blue team kind of has that sixth sense going on of they're going to change their Bison over. We need to shift into a different position.
Well, where they are right now, the Bison isn't going to be able to get any good shots. This is actually one of the few places on the map he's actually going to be safe. But I'm wondering why Simplistic isn't doing more. They have so much advantage. They've spotted this 69. They should know that he is DC'd. However, at the same time, some teams, and I've done this before, you see someone AFK and you say, you know what, let's let him be AFK. Let's not aggress until we know he's back. I've done that before. I've said, hey, we've got a guy that DC'd. Both teams wait out a minute. We wait for them to get back. It's sometimes spoken, sometimes not.
Okay, well, we're definitely keeping an eye on that the whole game. For now, the Bison has moved back into K9. We're not seeing him really move away. Yes, all those T69s are tucked away pretty nicely over on the side of Bernal Empires. But when it comes down to it, I mean, you can always readjust your Bison to get shots on any tank. Of course, you're going to put yourself in a very compromising position, but the fact of the matter is you always can get those shots. So we're going to see if they try to reposition or gain positioning for that Bison to just get those pot shots.
We're seeing some repositioning right now. 5100s coming from Simplistic moving out. There was a shot fired against Art of War. It did take some damage from the T-32s. Now this is where it's going to start getting a little bit heated against Bernal Empires, because Speed Weapon and Primus, full HP, full cannons, full drums, 6 shots. They can easily take down those T-32s. And there's the shots fired back and forth between the two different tanks. T-32 realizes, uh-oh, I need to turn around, trying to get himself in a better position. AMX 5100 goes down. Speed Weaponry, he's able to take him out. And now Mighty Pillow, Doberman, and Art of War are going to push in from the top. Not landing on top because the T-69s could take some damage from the T-32s with the heavier armor. But moving back is John and Mr. P, and A-Large takes him down in the Bison. Monster 415 goes down.
Yeah, nice Mighty Pillow's coming right down off the hill. John's only going to be able to fire every about 8 seconds here, and he's starting to take hits from the 69s.
Shots fired back and forth still. T-69, T-32 still left alive for the side of Bernal Empires. Rill in the T-69 takes down the AMX 5100. Art of War, however, from the back gets Mr. P. Nice flanking maneuver, using again the high ground to move to the rear and get the shot. Rill's going to be in some trouble. More shots being fired from the T-71 in Art of War. It is a light tank, but it does do damage when necessary. T-69, one more hit from one of the heavy tanks that will go down. T-71 using the Karasu movement around the world tank. The T-69 takes a shot. Looks like it missed, though, or bounced off. Doberman moving in for the kill here, and there's the shot. 3 left alive, G-Forcer, and 2 of the Tier 1 tanks.
Yeah, basically 2 Tier 1 tanks, because G-Forcer is not around. Really unfortunate. Of course, there is a cap back at the red base, but it's going to be very, very uneventful, as they won't be able to cap it. Really unfortunate. I mean, when it comes down to it, when you have a trade and you're a tank down, it's not going to go well. And even when you have a favorable trade, I mean, that's pretty much a 0% chance of ever winning. That initial shots from those AMX 5100s, they're able to do just so much. And they realize, okay, yeah, you are AFK. We're just going to leave you.
Yeah. At the same time, Speed Weaponry's about to come back. M. Duval going down here in just a second unless something crazy happens. Oh, never mind. Waffles is going to get him.
No, Waffles got him. He held his war there. Waffles getting some shots, taking some hits himself. It's just a matter of time now, folks. 80% left. There's the last kill. And that is going to be a victory for Simplistic. It is now tied 1-1. Again, unfortunate that G-Force was incapacitated at the beginning of the match. It was a patient play by Simplistic. Obviously, down 1 game. You don't want to go down the second one because it's really hard to fight from the very bottom and to win all the rest of the games. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Wargaming.net League North America World of Tanks. I am Joshua Gray, call sign Clutch. Joining me on the set is Andre Gretorp Hengshua, and also Ruukil locking it down over at the beautiful telestration. You guys want to know all about some gold? Well, here's how you can win some gold. Follow us on Twitter. Step 1, not too hard. At WGLNA. That's the acronym for Wargaming.net League North America. And all you have to really do is just send us a nice tweet. What's your favorite tank? What do you really like about the broadcast? How handsome Ruukil is? How much you like his hat? We'll pick some of the nice tweets and give you guys out some gold. We have 10 to give out. Also, you can please follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA and watch all the VODs of the broadcast at, you guessed it, youtube.com/WGLNA. And
guys,
go ahead, sir.
Don't forget, you're playing for something really big. That is a week's free worth of premium access.
7 days, man.
7 days. So that means when you're playing, you get increased experience and credits. It's gigantic. It helps you out so much. It expedites the grind so much. And it gets you to those higher tier tanks where you can just blow everybody to smithereens. On top of that, I do want to mention it's free to play, guys. This is not a pay to win type of model. It is free to win, free to play. And on top of that, it's coming to your Xbox 360. So if you guys do have an Xbox 360, you know, maybe your graphics can't handle it because God knows we've been in situations where we have the worst possible computers and we're still playing.
In our younger days.
Yeah, in our younger
college days.
But some of you guys have Xbox 360. Be sure to check it out there because it's definitely a different platform that is awesome, absolutely awesome. E3 featured a lot of the Xbox 360 World of Tanks, and I have to say the graphics look a lot better. What the heck, man?
Yeah, one of the things that I was very excited about to learn is that they custom built the Xbox 360 edition for the consoles. And you guys can actually sign up for the beta at worldoftanks.com/Xbox. Yes, of course, PC is fantastic, right?
Yes.
I mean, we're all PC gamers, but the console audience is huge. It's undeniable how big it is.
They got bigger explosions, Clutch.
I know.
I want a setting that says I can put bigger explosions, right? That way, if I have like a huge, you know, T1 Cunningham and I blow someone up, it's just like a huge
Well, it's
smoke
easier to see
ring.
those explosions on your 50-inch flat screen TV that's on the other side of the living room compared to a 27-inch monitor that's a couple feet in front of you. So they took that into account, which to me is the right approach. Also, the graphics, the UI, the size of the font, so everything about it just felt like it would be natural to play in your living room, and it doesn't forsake or take away anything from the PC version, which is what we're experiencing today, which is what 60 million people have experienced so far in over 200 countries. Ruukil, your thoughts really on the Xbox 360 edition?
I enjoyed it. I played it numerous times. How many? Maybe 5, 6 times when I was over there, and we talked about it when we were on the stream. I think people can review it if they want to online, but I really enjoyed playing light tanks on there. I did great in my. That was the only one match that I actually did really fantastically on. The rest, I unfortunately kind of potatoed a little bit, but it was pretty nice. It was good. It felt good.
Ruukil,
you know?
go into the Xbox 360 controller. I can tell.
I'm going to be the next pro Xbox 360 World Tanks player.
Guys, we have an update for the last game. As you all know, GeForcer did disconnect. We're actually going to replay mines, and I really thank both teams for their consideration of this. Obviously, it's not the same without all players in a game, and for them to agree to replay, it shows a true class of sportsmanship.
It's all about the players. That's what we want to present to everyone here. We love to present these storylines and to show this dramatic unfolding of the North American scene of World of Tanks. We've seen it across the world so far in different leagues that have cropped up. You know, South Korea, Europe, Russia in particular, where this game is huge. And now here in North America, we want this to be about the players. And again, like you said, we want to thank these players that they're going to replay mines. Everyone's pretty much set to go. They're going through the tank selections right now. Let's go ahead and jump in to see if they're going to pick the same tanks. Over on Team 1, we got the AMX 5100s, T69, Team Bison. Again,
same things.
T71 and T69. It looks like it might be the same for Team 2. Team 2 on this map, it's going to be...
They're picking their T32s, their T69s, AMX 5100. I expect another T32 in there, actually. But no, they're changing it. They did 2 T32s last game and 1 AMX 5100.
They did.
I think they're going to drop that this time. They're going to go more auto-loaders because they feel like because their enemy is bringing so many auto-loaders, they need to match that burst damage.
Yeah.
They need to match it, and then they need to they have a T32, so he has actually consistent fire. If he can make it through the first engagement, the beginning where everyone unloads their clips, he can keep up some consistent damage, and he'll be able to catch up.
He has a shopping spree after that. Everybody's loading up their guns, and he's like, you know?
Exactly.
He's going to have a good time. He's going to have a great time.
I almost feel, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Ruukil, that some of the better hold-down positions for the T-32s are not around the hills. It's either waterside or even over to the village. I think
there's some really nice ones in the waterside that I like. But there are some really strong, very, very strong ones.
For contesting the hill.
Yes, for contesting the hill. On top.
If you give up the hill, it's going to be a big problem. And what I find is going to be a gigantic problem is dealing with that T-71. It's going to jet up there. It's going to have nice positioning. And if you want to still contest that, you're going to be taking a couple of T-71 hits, a couple of Bison hits, and then, of course, you're going to go back to contesting the spot. And with the Bison in play, it's going to be very hard to consistently contest that and keep in those stagnant positions. We're going to check out right now. Let's check out for a second time on mines.
Different positioning these two teams are taking at this moment on mines.
All right, well, we're seeing the T-71 book it up to the top of the hill on mines again. So we are going to see probably something similar. Oh, wait, no, we might have heavies taking the hill.
Here we go. AMX 50-100 already up there. The problem is the T-71's already up there, and already a little bit of fire is going up there. The 50-100 only takes 3 shots so far. I say only 3. That is still a lot. And the T-71 needs to think, what do I do from here? I want to get 1 shot. If possible, of course, keep the hill, but I want to get 1 shot and maybe retreat down the hill, use my speed to the advantage. Azrael 90 made it through the Refiner's fire because Doberman missed one of his shots from the T-69. The T-71 and the Bison scouting back and forth. He's going to have to hug that hill. Real taking some hits, and there's the first blood. Artivore, the T-71, the light tank, takes down the AMX 5100, of course, with help from the rest of his teammates. Yep. Now, since they're down 1 tank, this is not a good position for the blue team. Doberman, Mighty Pillow, Speed Weaponry, all in great positions at this time. Prime Moose, again, the AMX 5100 could share HP with Mighty Pillow. Art of War scouting with the T-71 at the top of the hill. John, Mr. P, could maybe get a hit here, but that Bison's going to continue to lay down any fire if they try to move in. Yeah, you can see they're moving back and forth. It's like, why are you doing that? It's just to confuse the Arties a little bit, just the slightest bit. If it's 5%, it's still going to help out. But the fact of the matter is, they can see all the nozzles are pointed down. The T-71 is getting a lot of free fire until G-Forcer turned around and said, hey, stop doing that.
Duval and that T1 actually pushing up against the Bison. It's going to be a skirmish, it looks like, between the T1 and the Bison. And Mighty Pillow and Artivore have to pull back because of the pressure from Duval.
Boom! Ammo racked. Goodbye, T1.
Bison switching to Tank Destroyer mode takes him down. However, that does move the positioning of Mighty Pillow and Artivore, pushing in Real G-Force and Mr. P getting the kill against Duval. Or against Doberman, excuse me. Prime Moose now moving back. Speed Weaponry try to get some shots against the T-32. He is in a good position, however, to try to absorb some of the AMX 5100 shots. He has to aim for the hole to do damage against him. Shots fired again from the AMX 5100, and Rill goes down.
That's right. They should actually push over to the hill at this point. There's no reason for them to be engaging on the bottom here. They've already gotten favorable position. Just move across, trek up that hill, and then reset, make them all just be a little bit more worried that they can be flanked from any particular area.
Definitely. When M. Duval got into the backfield like he did, that was a fantastic time for them to take the hill.
Yes.
Because right then, Art of War got off the hill. That was the time.
That's
but then they wasted that. They pushed around, and unfortunately, they lost Rill right then. They could have saved him. If they'd saved Rill, they could have had a better chance in this game. But right now, Simplistic looks like they've got it. And we've got Art of War actually in the backfield. So this is not looking good for Bernal Empire.
That's right. I mean, when it comes down to it, you took the hill, you got control, but you lost too much HP. There's 2 tanks down, or 3 tanks, but 2 main tanks down, and of course a T1. You don't have enough hit points to really do any aggressive moves. So again, you're forced into defending. And what does Simplistic do? They just charge up there.
Yep, and now Waffles is aggressing on SBM Hawk. SBM Hawk is trying to avoid him, but we've got the T-71 in the backfield, so I'm expecting
that T1. And Mr. P goes down. Speed Weaponry, nice shot. So like you were saying, it's going to be pushing in. Oh, Monster 415 turns around with the hits. G-Force in the T-69 takes down Art of War. Back and forth fire, but G-Forcer, the only one left alive with enough HP to maybe have some sort of advantage against some of these lower HP tanks. However, Monster 415 and the AMX 5100 is hurting at this moment. Yeah. This is going to be a push in from Simplistic with the Bison for the full range of support all the way from the rear, being able to stop any tanks in their tracks. And the push in from Simplistic is pretty much going to be fatalistic against Bernal Empires. T69 taking some more damage at this time as well. Bison telling his teammates, I got the lock in. T69 Mighty Pillow gets another hit. It's going to be kind of a slow death now, guys, it seems, as G-Forcer is going to still try to stay alive here. Shots from the Bison does miss against G-Forcer.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Are we going to see Goomba? Give me a Goomba. No. Give me Goomba.
That gets a T69 just like in Back to the Future. It'd be like trying to cut through tinfoil, man. Mighty Pillow, however, still on the top of the hill.
This is your chance for that Goomba you wanted, and no, window's gone.
No,
window's gone.
It's gone.
Nope. Missed your timing attack, Mighty Pillow.
Prime Move's now moving up to the top of the hill. It's just going to be, again, a slow push, try to get these guys. Now with his AMX 5100, it could do a significant amount of damage. However, 257, hit points out of 1,400. He is not in a good position whatsoever. But he is covered from the Bison. Bison, however, moving slightly up to see if he can get a different angle.
And that's correct. I mean, the Bison works as almost like a T1 in this case, where if they choose to fire at him, that's a wasted shot. On top of that, you're pointing your nozzle at the wrong place.
There we go. G-Forcer getting proxy spotted by Waffles. Waffles coming in. G-Forcer's going to have to do something about him, but there goes the building.
And
there he goes.
Gets a shot. Mighty Pillow takes it, and Simplistic playing smart now. They know they got the win. They're way above 8 tier points. They can simply just draw out the game, but they don't want to. 4 minutes left on the clock almost. Waffles, T1 Cunningham using that wall. Scouting out a little bit. T69 Mighty Pillow poking out a little bit from the bushes. The AMX 5100 is pointing in the right direction.
Bison go TD mode. You can do it. You can kill him. 257 health. Oh, but Waffles is coming up.
Waffles playing with fire right now.
Come on. Come on, large.
Oh! 5100 out of nowhere.
Prime Moose gets the kill. Waffles sees the light, but it's not his time. Great play by Simplistic. They take this the third battle, excuse me. But it's technically the second because we replayed it. So now it's tied 1-1.
We had an overextension in that center part. You know, it's really unfortunate. I felt like Bernal Empires were in a good position to just move up onto the hill, especially when, as Ruukil said, the T1 was forcing back that T71 to defend the Arty. Of course, the Bison was really, really worried that he would take a couple of pot shots. But the fact of the matter is, you know not only a Bison shot isn't going to be up there, but you cleared out the top hill. Just run up there, reset, just say, okay, get into position, and we will find the better engagement. But what they ended up doing is they overextended, took a fight that they shouldn't have, and they were just trading unnecessarily. And when you trade unnecessarily, you don't have that aggressive option, because a lot of times when you are the aggressor, you take that 1 or 2 shots in the beginning, but then your positioning is going to be the one that gets you back into it.
I could see the mindset of Bernal Empires, what they were trying to accomplish, and maybe in a different execution it would have worked.
Yes.
But unfortunately, Azrael 90 took too many shots. That 5100 was out of commission. If they did have that DPS, if they did have that auto loader, it would have been maybe a little bit different because they pushed him out of, they pulled him out of position.
That felt really indecisive. It felt like they were halfway through some kind of move, and then they decided, no, let's not do that. But then half of them were saying, yes, let's go forward. And then they were unable to figure out what they wanted to do. I think that was possibly somewhere on comms, someone saying forward, and then everyone saying no, and then someone hesitates. If someone in the front hesitates, the rest of the herd always is going to hesitate as well. It's that herd mentality always present in World of Tanks.
Got to commit. You got to go forward. That's
That's why we lead the puppies, guys.
That's right.
We lead the puppies.
Lead them.
Charge forward.
Yep. And you guys can lead as well. If you get gold, make sure to follow us on Twitter, as we talked about before this match. Tweet at us some of your favorite tanks, some of the favorite moments so far, which teams you're rooting for at WGLNA. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. More World of Tanks.
They can play defensive from here and draw it out. They don't need to necessarily do anything, but they know their opponents are out of position. Let's take out this Arty, this Lorraine, and make sure that we can have a little bit of expendable tier points.
Yeah, time is fleeting. 20 seconds left on the clock. They need to get another tier 8 kill
here. MX 1390, lining up a shot. Can he get it?
Lorraine 155. Shots fired. It misses, it looks like, as MP is trying to move out. That WZ 132 from Azrael 90, however, trying to cover the retreat. 5 seconds left on the clock. It looks like it might be a draw, folks, because there's not an 8-point difference.
There goes John getting a T2
1
light. Nice shot on him.
And that's going to do it. A draw
Yep.
is what we see from here. Battle time has expired. Of course, the tier point difference was less than 8, so we are going to see that same map yet again. You know what? I really like how these two teams played it out. Yes, it was very passive. Yes, it was very defensive, but they were constantly moving, and I love that. Just these small little positional gains, trying to get the small little advantage. And of course, there wasn't an eventual winner, but I think we're going to see one next game for sure.
And it's part of the strategy. If you need to bring it out to a draw, obviously both teams want to win. They don't want to draw forever. But to bring it out to a draw is part of the tactics in the game that's used, and we'll get to see them replay this map. Ruukil, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I felt like they really underused their light tanks. I really felt like they should have used them more scouting after they lost their T2 lights. Those light tanks can scout. They have better view range than T2 lights. T2 lights don't have great view range. So when you lose a T2 light and a T1 light tank, you have to use your WZs and your 1390s to scout the enemy. You can't just sit there and wait. And they did make some nice maneuvers, but no one on either team was actually acting like a scout. They weren't using their tank to its full potential. That's 8 tier points of amazingly powerful scout. Not only does it have great view range, but it has great firepower along with that view range. I felt like they underused them, and it bothered me, because I love scouting in a 1390. I can do it all day long. I will scout all over that map. And both teams could have done so much more.
Well, again, nerves do play a huge factor in this, because this is qualifier number 2 for Season 1. Single elimination bracket. We're starting at the round of 64. If either of these teams lose the best of 5, that's it. They're out till Season 2. So a lot is on the line. A lot is on the line.
$100,000, guys, and a trip to, we can say it, right?
Vegas.
Vegas.
August
My
17th
goodness.
and 18th. You guys want to be there, because you'll get to see all of these handsome faces, from Frodan to myself to Gretorp to Ruukil and Chance as well.
Chance is the most handsome in this studio for sure. Guys, you have to go to the finals. It's going to be an awesome time, and hopefully one of these teams will be there. But for now, they're tied 1-1 apiece. We're going to go into game number 3. When we come back, you are watching the WGLNA.net Wargaming.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and you are looking at the beautiful map that is steps, divided by a single road that goes down the center. Do not go down that road, because you will get...
Don't do it.
You will get targeted. I have actually gone down a couple times in pub games, and I've done pretty well. But in pro games, not really the best place to go.
It's not the best way.
Ruukil, break down what's happening so far.
All right, well, we've got on the north side with Simplistic. They are making some west side movements, so I'm expecting a push down the west. But on the other side of the map, we're seeing the same setup. Burn All Empires here in the south. That T2 light making that same move again, and he's going to get spotted out. Probably going down. I'm going to give it, let's see, 10 seconds.
Oh, shots fired almost. He's going to go for the rando. Goes for the kill.
All right. So are they going to just explode right now? They know they've been spotted. What's going to happen right now, Ruukil?
All right, I'm expecting them to keep going on, but they need to keep their formation tight. If they get too strung out, someone's going to get caught out, and they're going to go down. Now, I think we see a T2 light leading the way. No, that's T1 Mighty Pillow leading the way. He's going to make himself the best distraction he can, while A-Large and Waffles here are moving around. But we've got 1390s lining up shots.
3 of them in that center position. Monster 4 and 5. Warvan, AMX 1390. Shots fired against Waffles. Warvan himself taking some serious hits. He is going down quickly. Azrael 90 falling back. There goes Warvan. Prime Moose with the kill in the WZ 132. Shots fired again against Monster 4 and 5. He takes some hits. Return fire from Azrael, taking down Mighty Pill in the T1. Waffles, prime moves, speed weaponry, and Art of War in for the surround. It is going to be a massacre of Simplistic versus Burn All Empires if they're able to continue to hit the shots. Waffles taking some hits as well. He's going to move back, waiting for the kill from prime moves. Again, perfect tactical movement using those quad mountain range, I want to say, those little hills.
I call them the Doritos.
The
actually.
Doritos, I see. Now they're going to get the surround of the WZ-132. Aggressive play style, but he gets the kill himself in the Lorraine. Not over yet.
I'd say it was actually over. Simplistic probably going to be able to clean this one up. They did a fantastic job on that engagement.
Yes.
I mean, did you see A-Large? He was out in a really, really cool flank position right there. Got a great crossfire. Actually, they're ignoring Ezreal. There he goes.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. They're waiting for A-Large, too, to get the kill on that. Speed weaponry low on HP, but he's going to be just fine since only one Tier 1 is left alive. What a completely different game compared to the last one.
Absolutely. You have to note the tank change-up. Instead of taking that GW Panther, they switched it up, took the another AMX 1390. So they were looking to do this blitzkrieg and really push and put the pressure on their opponents. And I felt Burn All Empires were set up decently, but man, that flank coming in from multiple sides really put a number on them. You can see they weren't able to get enough damage off as well. The Lorraine slightly missed the shot on one of the AMX 1390s, and he actually didn't even track him. He did like 100 damage, and that's it. So really unfortunate the Lorraine was not able to get off enough shots, and for that, you're playing a tank down, or basically 8 tier points down for what, 100 to 300 hit points? That's all you're really doing. You need more time.
Yes, exactly. They weren't able to stall for time to use that artillery piece. That's exactly what you need to do. Stall, stall, stall. When you Burn All Empires there needed to stall as much as they could, because that Artie, actually, he was making great shots.
Yeah.
He made some very good shots,
yeah.
And I found that impressive. So when you see that the enemy is pushing like that, they don't have an Artie piece, and you do have an Artie piece, if you can stall and make it so that Artie piece can get off as many shots as possible, you're going to have a great time, because if he can make hits happen, you're going to see the map sway in your favor very, very quickly.
Right.
After a few shots longer, and I think that would have gone for Burn All Empires.
And I have to ask you really quickly, because from my point of view, Burn All Empire, of course, they want to run a very light tank-driven lineup. But what would you say about including a T69 to counter that type of strat? Because, of course, the T69 can kind of defend against flanks a little bit easier. If you know you are on the defensive option, you have to play, super, super defensive, knowing that they have so many more open ranges with an entirely light lineup, an entirely AMX 1390 lineup. What are your thoughts on something like that?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. A T69 would have been a stronger choice for a tank, and it definitely could have had a better impact, especially with the way they were defending. I mean, slightly larger health pool, and the autoloader, along with the reload, the second engagement there, would have been really nice, because that fight could have been drawn out a little bit more, and the T69 could have made a really nice impact. It's
definitely that give and take. If you choose the AMX 1390 over the T69, you have a better scout. Well, I mean, T69 is still a good scout with a 400
meter. It has good view range as a passive scout, not as an active.
Correct,
yeah, exactly.
Meters. But when it comes down to it, I'm trading off a little bit of aggression for a little bit of defense. Obviously, this time around, they needed the defense.
But with those picks, too, Burn All Empires, if they did choose those picks, Simplistic wouldn't have pushed so hard.
Maybe, but at the same time, maybe they would have. I mean, you don't know, but
maybe to catch them off guard, of course.
Yeah,
but
sure.
But when it actually came down to that engagement, the element of surprise and the aggression was in their favor.
Well, in that situation, wouldn't you say the T69 performs a little bit better?
It would. But from the tank choices, if they did go the T69s, they might not have played that aggressive.
Yeah, you have a point there. I might have, and that's in Simplistic's situation. I probably.
But of course, this is hindsight 2020.
Correct.
Hindsight 2020, of course.
Needless to say, I mean, the Blitzkrieg was very well orchestrated, and obviously, because of that, Simplistic will take up the second battle win.
That's right. Simplistic is up 2-1. They're one match away from continuing on into qualifier number 2, or it could be Burn All Empires that takes the next game. This is a best-of-5 matchup. We're just getting started. More World of Tanks coming at you soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wargaming.net League North America World of Tanks. During the break, we're actually talking a little bit more about the T69s. I mean, I really like this tank. It's actually the next tank I'm going to unlock.
You know what? We're all still students. Even Ruukil is still a student of World of Tanks. That's why it's good to just talk with your friends. And who knows? Maybe we'll form our own team and win WGLNA Season 2.
We can't. But maybe you guys could. I don't know. Battle buddies? What would you call your team?
Battle buddies for life.
BBFL.
Yes.
That's our team incoming. Okay.
All right. Go with that. I'm sure Team Simp or Fulcrum Gaming will hit me up then against you guys. But
BBFL.
So, speaking of Team Simp, we're going to talk to the leader here in a little bit. We're going to have an interview with him. But let's go ahead and jump into what's happening right now. It's going to be game number 4, and possibly the last game if Simplistic's able to take it. Looking over at Team 1, which is the side of Simplistic. They got AMX 5100s, IS-3, T-32, AMX 1390, and 2 T-1s. Other side, number of AMX 5100s, and a number of other tanks. Go ahead and pop up that menu again. Thank you very much. AMX 5100s, IS-3, T-32, T-69, and T-1s. And it looks like a bit of a mirror matchup, except a T-69 instead of an AMX 1390.
All right, so we're obviously going to be looking at scouts. We'll go into positions in a little bit as we start off here on Ruinberg. All right, Ruukil. The north side, the east side, the south side, the west side.
The church side, as we see in the video.
Talk to us. What's going on with Ruinberg?
All right, well, I'm seeing some movement out towards the east for both teams. It looks like we'll see something. Not sure what exactly yet. We might see, actually, no, the way they're going on the south here, I'm betting Bernal Empires is going to stop short of the town in the east, while we'll see Simplistic take up positions. So we'll see some nice fire coming from the north.
Everybody's spotted, though. I do want to say Warvan is spotted, G-Forcer is spotted. The, you know, obviously Simplistic has a very good understanding of the formation of Bernal Empires.
And also the 2 heavy tanks that they posted to the D7 line instead of sending them all the way down the 0 line. Again, that's pretty crucial because if you send all the tanks down the 0 line, that means you are leaving a lot open to the western flank, especially in the cities, which gives very good crossfire to anyone crossing those buildings. T1 taking some damage at this time. Duval, 65 HP out of 115. He's going to get behind some cover, though, and still in a good position, but no, he goes down. I was going to say he was in a good position to keep tally of what's happening on the map. That's part of the job of being a scout, but he goes down. Azrael 90, Rill taking some shots. Art of War takes a hit in the AMX 5100. Azrael trading some shots of speed weaponry at the same time. Art of War is hurting a little bit. 800 HP out of 1400. Azrael has a little bit more than him. Did take a shot, and the IS-3 from Mighty Pillow is going to move up to that flank. And could he take some flank damage for himself from the T-32? Mr. P is not in position to get some crossfire himself. Quick little skirmish so far, but now it's going to be a repositioning to see who's going to push into who.
Yeah, right now I'd expect Simplistic here to try and make some kind of move. They know there are 2 tanks out of position.
That's right.
Over in, that is G67. They're out there and they are cut off effectively. If everyone from Simplistic jumped on Ezreal, Rill, and G-Forcer right now, actually, is this the move I'm talking about?
They're setting it up. They're rallying units all the way around. They're still covering that huge crest on the top, the road that we're talking about earlier. And now it looks like they are pushing forward. And G-Forcer, Rit, and Azrael are in a lot of trouble because they are looking outnumbered pretty hard.
They are very cut off. If we can get a focus fire out of Simplistic, we're going to see 1 tank, then another go down like dominoes.
Azrael 90, 566 right now. Rill getting focus fire from Waffle Speed Weaponry. Prime moves. Art of War moving in for the side flank. Azrael will not move into position because the IS-3 from Mighty Pillow is in a great spot to stop any type of return fire, but he moved past the building, and that allowed Art of War to get hit, but he does move back, takes down Azrael 90. Shots fired back and forth here, but Simplistic is locking down the east village, and they're going to continue firing on G-Forcer and Rill. Rill moving back in the 5100, taking shots from the IS-3. IS-3 does get hit, but 260 HP from Rill. One more shot from any of these tanks is going to go down. However, John, a.k.a. Mr. P, and Warvan all the way to the east in the city side, taking some hits himself and takes him down.
They can't move over until they clear out this 1 tank over here. Doberman is doing a great job at just giving time for the outnumbering over on the side. They need to actually push up on Doberman and take him out a little bit quicker, or else everybody's going to go down over here. G-Forcer, where is everybody?
Well, G-Forcer's still in the village, but as you were saying, Doberman is in a good spot. It's a little bit tricky where he's positioned, though, but that T-32 in that hold down position, if they can't shoot his hole, they're effectively not going to do that much damage to him.
And here begins the cap. Blue base is being capped. Who is that on cap?
It's one of the T1 tanks, a large. 2. He took some hits himself, though, resetting the points. Shots fired again. Mighty Pillow taking a lot of damage. John, Mr. P goes down from Doberman. Doberman, the T-32, is moving back from the IS-3. If they get into a brawl mode, the IS-3 could be positioned in
unfortunate.
A shot.
4 hit points left.
Wow.
And the T-32 will get at least one more
shot.
Gonna
brawl
off.
for it. No, he gets the ramming kill. Warvan, however, is going to be hit on both sides. The most weak spot on IS-3 is the sides of the rear, right under those side skirts. Shots from Prime Moose. He goes down. And it looks like they've done it. The red team, Simplistic.
Very well done. Very well done by Simplistic.